Live from the Scheinfeld Center Innovator Studio at Santa Barbara City College, it's the Enlightened Entrepreneur Podcast. I'm your host, Julie Sampson, director of the Scheinfeld Center. Thank you for joining us here to build livelihoods that matter, be your own boss, and make the world an even better place. Well, here is a question for you. How exactly can you launch a business from a passion project? And does passion really matter when it comes to getting your venture off the ground? Joining us to break it down are two SBCC alums who transformed their passions into business ventures. From Santa Barbara, California, is Silvia Franco Comer, co-founder of Casa de Comer's Smokin good Salsas, with a simple mission to craft quality, healthy, and savory salsas by carrying on the traditions behind authentic Mexican cuisine. And joining us from Florida, Jacob Zander is an entrepreneur and video creator. He is the founder of his brand, Feel Your Soul, and creates videos on YouTube and TikTok. Jacob's brand, Feel Your Soul, focuses on creating products to help elevate the customer's day-to-day life. Sylvia, Jacob, welcome, and thank you for joining us for the podcast.
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here.
I'm excited to be here.
Both of you were students at Santa Barbara City College. Both of you were involved in the entrepreneurship program and the Scheinfeld Center. So Sylvia, you were a winner of the Scheinfeld New Venture Challenge. Was that in 2017?
Yes, that was 2017.
And then went on to complete the Get Real Accelerator. And Jake, you were winner of the Scheinfeld Center New Venture Challenge. What year was that?
It was 2018.
2018, and then went on to win the Get Real Accelerator. And that was in 2019, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's amazing that both of you have had such success, both within the Scheinfeld Center and then also carrying on and launching your own business ventures. So let's just get the audience up to speed. And if you could both share what your venture is. So Sylvia, would you like to take the lead here?
Yes, so I have a line of salsas. We have 5 different salsas. The original 3 are smoky, and we've been adding to that. We have a cilantro lime pepita and a premium mango salsa. We've created these salsas as a healthy and flavorful choice to enhance those any dish that you wish to add flavor to.
Excellent. Thanks. Jake.
And then my brand. So I started my brand back in 2018, and it's called Feel Your Soul. And the main product that I had come up with when I was at SBCC are these insoles for Converse and Vans, because I wear Converse all the time, and I was like, they're not very comfortable to work in all day. And so then I ended up creating these, they're called insoles, but on the brand side, they're called foot soles. And so they just slip right into your Chucks and your Vans, and they make your Converse and Vans really comfy. And then from there on, I've been working on like other products to go along with the brand, because the brand's message is to inspire people to do what they love. And so that's kind of where I'm at now with the stage there. So
fantastic. Thank you for giving us that background. At Santa Barbara City College, our students have been working on passion projects. We've been talking a lot about the role of passion in all types of projects, including launching a business venture. And so it would be really interesting to hear from both of you. What role did passion play in the launch of your venture? You know, was it something that was there right away? You connected with it, you moved it right through the launch of your venture, or did it come down the road?
Yeah, so my passion like really lies from like inspiring people to do what they love. And so the passion part really came from the messaging in the brand. And then from there, that's kind of when I was able to like evolve products to go along with it. But like from the past like 2.5 years of like running it, I've found that there's a lot of other things I'm passionate about inside the brand. So like, for example, like I never had really been able to put a finger on it, but I just love design and like creating things. And then that's kind of something I've found out I'm passionate from creating everything. So if you don't know like what you're passionate about right now, like if you start doing something, you'll figure it out along the way, and it'll kind of like lead you down like a path of figuring out what you're passionate about. So that's how it's been with me.
Yeah, so I started, it wasn't really a passion until later, but I started as a desire to have good salsas because I grew up having homemade salsas and usually enhance the flavor of our meals. And so as we started going after, we knew we had a product when we had a food truck and we introduced it in the food truck. And so customers would say, you know, this is awesome. I really like it. Can we buy some? And so we went after a business of starting our own salsa company. But then in making the salsa, I realized that what I really liked was the food memories that it brought. People would say, oh, that reminds me of this, that reminds me of that. And when you get together and you bring those flavors and those dishes and that you create as a family and you create those memories, that's what I realized that was my passion, that I realized I had created with my mom when she was in the kitchen making those salsas, or with my best friend when we would run back to have lunch at her grandma's and she would have homemade flour tortillas and this molcajete type salsa, and we would sit there and we have bean and cheese or bean burritos with salsa, and that those moments in the kitchen, that's what I realized was the real passion, to have that and keep creating and not lose those traditions, those Mexican traditions, kind of like you see in, I like to refer to como agua para chocolate, where there's tita in the kitchen with her grandma and there's all these aromas, but they're really bonding and making these memories.
It's so good to hear how this passion really moved with the both of you, both in different ways. It sounds like it was a critical part of your journey, but there it just came up in different ways. Now,
Mm-hmm.
I guess part of this is, when did you both see yourself as, okay, I'm onto something and this is going to become a business? Where did that come into the process? Let's see, Sylvia, do you want to head off with that?
Yes, so we went and we tried to see, you know, is this a viable business? Do we have a product? Do people like it? So we validated it. We won a competition. We started going into some of the small stores, the independent stores here in town. But really, when I realized that we had a business was when we went to Gelson's, and we pitched to Gelson's in their local discovery program. And we had the sharks there. We had the buyers there, and they're looking at our product and like, there's nothing like this in the market, and we like it, and we want to bring you on board to all the stores. So that's when we're like, okay, like this is a good product. You know, they're asking us to come into all 27 stores, and when you get a PO from them, they're like, okay, this is a real business. This is going to be our livelihood.
So with me, so since I was in high school, I knew I had always wanted to start a business. But I had done a couple like smaller things, but nothing that was like at scale that I really wanted to do. And then with the insoles for Converse idea, I kind of had that sitting in the back of my mind of like, this might be kind of something that might work. But I didn't really like know if I should try and do it. But then when I took the new Julie's class, I kind of started looking into like the statistics of how many pairs of Converse they sell a day. And it's like 270,000 pairs a day. And that's when I was like, dang, if I like sold like 1% for people, that would be a huge number. And so like, that's kind of what got the ball rolling. And then after like I had put in all the work and I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. And when I had launched it in 2019, and like right off the bat, like there really wasn't very many sales because I didn't really know like what to do like online, like how to like really sell things like through a website. But I would do some of these pop-ups, and during the pop-ups, I would see like people's reactions of like trying out the foot soles. And when they would try them out, like I would always film the reactions because they would just be so like they're over the top. Usually people would be so ecstatic about like just trying a pair of like foot soles and their Converse. And then through that, I had seen like, okay, I think I might have something here. I'm just not really like pairing it with like, I just don't know how to do the online part. And so then throughout the next like year, I like learned how to do the online part. And then that's when things like really started picking up. And that's like what got the whole ball rolling. And then that kind of introduced like another thing I love is making videos. And so it kind of combined both of them there. In
Fantastic.
short.
Yeah. What are the first three or the three most important actions that you took to transition from idea to launch that you would recommend other students take?
Three things that I did to get my idea to actually launching it. One of the big things that I learned really early on is like, no one's going to do it for you. Because I had a lot of people in the early stages who said they were going to help me, but really never ended up following through. And that kind of set me back like 6 months right off the bat, because I was kind of waiting on people like to help me, but no one really did. And so then I was like, okay, I just got to do this. I just got to find a way to do this. And so that was a big portion of it, is just like, you got to put in the work. Another thing was to get going. It's a lot about, there's a lot of planning. Financially too, is like, how are you going to actually fund it for me? Because I don't come from money. So it was a portion of it was like, how am I going to like pay for my inventory? That was another one. And then another thing from there was learning how to design, or learning how to like go from like a concept to like reality. And so one of the things I did one of the things that had set me back was people had said they were going to help me find like a manufacturer, and no one ended up like following through on that. And so I was like, you know what, I'm going to book a ticket to Vietnam, and I'm going to just fly over there basically with really not any understanding, and just find a manufacturer, which I don't know if that's the best. That's one way to go. So that's the way I went. And so I basically showed up to a manufacturer, and I had emailed them beforehand telling them I was coming. And it's a funny story, really funny story looking back. But that was one of the big things that I had did, and just kind of like, just not being scared to like fail and try and figure out how to do it somehow. So that's kind of my couple things.
I went back to school to fill my toolbox, to learn what I didn't know about business, and to understand what I needed to figure out as I, started it with licenses, and just if it's, just the market, and understanding every aspect of business in the sense of marketing, financial, licenses. That would be the first. The second would be to ask for help from family, the support, ask them, financial support, to get them behind you, and in any way that they can support you. And that's very big. That's huge. The third is we reaching out to people in the industry. And we did that. I reached out, actually, my husband reached out to Chuck Santry, who was part of Santa Barbara Salsa, and, getting help and understanding things through their, they've already gone through, they have a roadmap in a way. And so they can help you. And so he helped us negotiate. He helped us with onboarding. He helped us plan and set goals. And he's became our mentor and a good friend. So that would be the third thing.
Really important actions that both of you took. So in going through that process and in the journey from that launch to where you are now, could you tell us how much passion has played a part in that journey, how important it's been, like on a scale from 1 to 10, with 10 being the highest, and how so?
Yeah. So, with me, it's been really important because there's been a lot of ups and downs, like really high highs and then really low lows. And so like, for me, it's definitely a 10, just because like, I really can't do something unless I'm passionate about it, which I've really learned. Because then it's just like, I kind of get bored with it. And so like with Feel Your Soul, there's been like a lot of like throughout 2020, it was like huge high, like the whole entire year, because it was just all uphill growth. And then made some mistakes at the end of 2020. And then like 2021 was a harder year. And that's when I had to like push through, because I'm very passionate about this. And it was like, I don't want to give up on this. And so that's what it's been for me. So like, I'm super passionate about like kind of this, anything I do.
Well, I would say that passion of making salsa wasn't what maybe a 5 of passion, but really understanding my talent, my God-given talent, understanding what I'm good at, and then doing something I believe in, and finding the passion of, figuring out what it is that keeps me going. But, family for me is what keeps me going, and my husband, and just those values, creating value in what we do. Passion, in a sense, for it plays a role, but not necessarily. It has to be that you have to do something that you feel like that this is what your talent is, and then use that for something you believe in.
Yeah. Great point. Yeah. Talent that you have, you've talked about the skill base, and cultivating the skill base. You found your passion, over time, in that deeper meaning. Yeah. All really good stuff from both of you. So you both kind of mentioned that your passion can fluctuate over time through running your business. And so if you could let us know, how do you keep things kindled on a daily basis, because it can be easy. I mean, we've heard about some entrepreneurs getting burned out, when you care about what you're doing, that can happen. Yeah. So how do you manage it on a day-to-day basis? Because you both, just in your presence, convey a lot of passion. How do you do it?
I'm not passionate about every area of the business. I'm very passionate about the creative end and like the vision part, but I've learned I'm not very passionate about the business and like analytics and like finance part of it. So that's a portion I have to like that's something I need to hire someone for eventually, which I'm working on. But not getting burned out, like me personally, it can be challenging, because I mean, when you put something out and then you don't get the response you want, it does get frustrating. But not getting burned out, I think just with me, I don't know how to explain it, because I've thought about this, like getting burned out. I don't know if I necessarily, it's very challenging for me to get burned out on something, because I don't know how I just keep going sometimes. I don't know how people can relate. I don't know how to relate to that, but I know there are days where it's just like, I'm not feeling creative at all. And it's just kind of like, what can I do to kind of reamp my creativity and kind of rethink through things. Like if something's not going as I want it to, because I do have a lot of those days where where things just aren't really working. On those days, a lot of things are just, I do small things to clear my head. Like working out is a good thing for me. I like to go to the beach, and then hanging out with friends. When I get together with friends, or like talking, because like being an entrepreneur is like right now, it's a very solo job. And so like, that's the hard part for me, is like, if I'm not talking to people, then I can kind of get in a funk sometimes. But if I'm talking to people, or I go out to hang out with people or something, then I get a lot more ideas and I get refreshed on things. So that's a little bit about how I try and balance it, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So as I mentioned, this is our livelihood. So we have to get up and keep going, because we have to put, food on the table. And so that's one thing, but it's our family business, and knowing that we've, all the hard work that we put into it, and the challenges that we've overcome, and what we see that we have now. Like if you look back and everything that you've been through, and you're still here. And so that keeps us going. But I echo what Jake was saying, that you do need an outlet. You need to figure out what you can go out to, to relieve some of that stress. And if, running or, getting together with friends and, giving you that support, you do need an outlet when you're going through a lot of stress. But for me, what keeps me going is knowing that we're doing this and we have family behind us and we have community behind us, and seeing what they have done for us. Just back in June when we lost all our product and we almost lost the business, and because we were having trouble with getting our product packaged, and we had family and friends, they started a give, send, go campaign for us. And so, money came in, and so it helped out. And so seeing that really just keeps you going. It's like, this is, people are behind us. We have a good product. We have family and support.
Hey, both of you have brought some questions from the audience. So let me see what we have here. This one is for you, Sylvia. What have you experienced being the biggest challenge as an entrepreneur?
Yeah, time, managing the time and where you put the time and, marketing, trying to, raising money, just because we're a small company, we're doing all the labor from, grilling every vegetable to filling, sealing, washing everything, labeling. So that takes a lot of time, and then getting out there and trying to get new accounts. So managing time, having an organized plan, weekly and monthly goals and stuff, that really is key.
Hey, Jake, here's one for you. Who has been your biggest inspiration throughout your entrepreneurial journey, and why?
Oh, there are a lot of people. I think I can, maybe I'll answer that a little bit differently. So I look up to a lot of different brands, and I'll tell you why I look up to them. So one of the brands and I'll start with two. So two of the brands are Nike and Disney. And the reason why I like Disney a lot is because they've created like this whole brand where they have products and they have like an experience where people can come to, and then they also have entertainment. And so that's kind of how I look at Failure Soul and like what I want to do in the future with it, is because they have these like three different pillars of things. So they have a place where people can actually go physically, and then they have a place where people can buy their products online. And they also have the entertainment portion where people can like just watch a movie, and that's what creates a lot of feelings. And then Nike, I relate to the Nike story a lot because Phil Knight kind of did a similar thing where he like went to Asia and was looking for different like shoe manufacturers for his brand. And something where I relate to them a lot is Nike became Nike because of their marketing. And that's where I'm like, that's what I'm good at, is marketing. And I'm not as good at it on the operational side. And so last year, like for an example, when I was kind of looking into like making the next step of should I outsource my warehousing, or should I keep my warehousing like in-house and like have my own warehouse team? And I ended up going with the warehouse partner because I'm able to focus more on marketing there, and instead of focusing on the operational side, because I'm still in a big growing stage. Not saying that in the future I can't go back, but like right now that's what I need to focus on. But those are my two big inspirations.
We have just one more question. If you can believe it, our time is almost over. So the question is, what is the big thing for you, the next big thing for you?
The next big thing is we didn't really, we started trying to go into farmers market, and it didn't, it was hard here in Santa Barbara. But I reached out to, when we were having challenges, I reached out to the owner or the son of Asuki's. And so he just said, you need to go to farmers market. And that's where you start to get into more markets, but going into the farmers market is what we're going to focus on now, instead of just going into all the chains. So really having more of a customer, to direct to customer is what we're going to do. So we're looking into LA. Yeah.
Wow, that's exciting. That seems like it aligns with your brand really well. And Jake, how about you? Next big thing.
I could answer this a lot. I can say a couple of them. So, like right now, what I'm currently doing is I've been working on my new manufacturing down in Mexico for like textiles. So that's like a lot of clothing. That's one of them. And then another goal I have, which is what I'm working on right now, is I really think the foot soles would be a really good fit into the Disneyland parks. And so working on getting that accomplished. And then on the content side, this year I've been kind of restructuring everything, making a lot of changes. And so I'm working on a podcast show and a YouTube show called the Feel Your Soul Show. And it'll kind of be it'll be what the brand will be known for instead of the products. And so that's what I'm working on right now as well. So that's a little bit in short.
That's super exciting, both of you. Well, I'm sure that our audience is going to want to follow you. Definitely the Scheinfeld Center does, and all of our students. You are both inspiring to all of our students with the things that you've accomplished. So what's the best way that they can follow you?
Oh, you go first, Sylvia.
Yeah, and Instagram, or feel free to reach out with any questions.
Okay,
We'd love
great.
to hear from anybody, and if we can help in any way, we'd love to give back too.
And then for me, it's Feel Your Soul for the business accounts on Instagram, TikTok, and then on my accounts, it's just Jacob Zander on Instagram, TikTok, and then YouTube. So,
well, thank you both for joining us. It's been such a pleasure. And to our audience, I hope that this really supports you in your entrepreneurial journey. It's so great to talk with people who have been through the process, but aren't that far down the line that you can't relate to yourself, relate to them, and kind of see some of yourself in them. So please follow these entrepreneurs and give them your support, and be back with us next week for more support in bringing your passion project to life. Take care, everybody. Thanks again, Jake and Sylvia.
Thank you.